Now we know he's lost the glove at Bundy because he stopped and turned around and looked for it, and it's not on his hand that's still bleeding. All of this stuff comes together, but it's never put on. The timeline is perfect as to when this occurred. Jill Shively would have filled in the timeline perfectly. You didn't see her there at all. Because, again, this is LAPD on trial. When you investigate a murder, because you file a murder case, it doesn't mean the investigation over. In fact, many times it's just beginning. This thing went on for months. We investigated this case throughout this trial, putting various things together, presenting them to Marcia to put on as evidence, thereby strengthening the case. Granted, it's all circumstantial. Circumstantial is good enough evidence. It's really good when you got 20, 22 or 23 pieces of it with nothing exculpatory. This stuff should have all been put on. None of it was put on because Marcia realized this was LAPD on trial. She didn't do anything to rehabilitate much of the witnesses, such as Kato, who was a very important witness. In fact, she calls him a hostile witness. And interviewed him under those conditions that he was hostile. He wasn't hostile. He was a very important witness to this whole case. And you saw him treated as a hostile witness. Somebody calls you a hostile witness, and you're going to act hostile. And that was all done terribly. She handled this done terribly because her agenda, she knew what was it, that LAPD was on trial. She didn't want to appear to be in bed with the evidence in the LAPD. So this is how she acted towards this whole investigation. Everybody else was a pleasure to work with. Chris did a very good job. This nonsense with the gloves and the gloves didn't fit all comes down. It was another red herring. The gloves did fit. They're just not going to fit someone who's wearing latex underneath them. I don't care if you have the smallest hands in humanity, you're not going to get on leather gloves if you're wearing latex underneath them. There's also the shrinkage factor, and you don't let someone in front of a jury and 60 million people demonstrate that he can't get the gloves on. That was all handled very poorly. Again, that's the problem with cameras in the courtroom. That particular demonstration should have happened in chambers with the judge and the attorneys. Anyone with the slightest bit of common sense knows that if you have shrinked up gloves that are stiff and you are wearing latex underneath, it's almost an impossibility. In fact, I don't know how you'd get them on if you wanted to. In any way, it's ridiculous that ever happened. So Chris was falsely accused. The only thing that he may have done differently is don't do it in front of a jury and a live television audience, because that exactly what would happen happened.